Responsibilities of various parties regarding internal control system. Take and ensure it is working effectively on a continuous basis. Board of Directors ensure that an effective internal control system is designed, implemented, and monitored by the management. Ensured internal control systems are reviewed internal and external auditors and their recommendations are implemented. Auditors review and report internal control system and recommend changes. External auditors work regarding control, document or evaluate. Narratives. Narratives note consist of a written description of the system. They would detail what occurred in the system at each stage, would include any control which operate at each stage. Advantages of this method include they are simple to record after discussion with the staff member. These discussions are easily written off as notes. So they can facilitate understanding by all members of internal audit team, especially more junior members who might find alternative methods too complex. Disadvantages of this method include narrative notes may prove to be too cumbersome, especially if the sales and distribution system is complex. This method can make it more difficult to identify missing internal control as the notes record the detail but do not identify control exceptions clearly. Flowchart. Flowchart are a graphic illustration of the internal control system for the sales and dispatch system. So, in in uh, in summary, we can say narrative notes is a written description of the system. Its advantage is easy to write based on discussion, easy for juniors to understand. Disadvantage too long and messy for complex system, hard to identify missing controls. So good for understanding and bad for spotting weaknesses. Okay. So second is flowchart. Flowchart are graphic illustration of the internal control system for sales and dispatch system. Lines usually demonstrate the sequence of the internal control for sales. For example, sales and dispatch system. Lines usually demonstrate the sequence of event, and standard symbols are used to signify controls or documents. Okay, so it is generally a diagram that shows the system visually. Okay, what are the advantages of this method? Advantages of this method, it is easy to view the cell system in its entirety as it is all presented together in one diagram. So it means whole system is visible at once. And due to the use of standard symbol for controls, they are easy to spot as are any missing controls. So missing controls are easy to spot. Information is presented in logical sequence, and they ensure that system is recorded in its entirety as all documents have to be traced from beginning to end. Complete tracking of documents. Facilitate easy understanding of the system. So it is easy to understand. Facilitate the highlights of strength and weakness of a system. Highlights strength and weaknesses. Permanent record serves as a permanent record of the system that can be subject to a minor amendment on a year-to-year basis. So flowchart can be recorded as a permanent record, which can be subject to minor amendment on a year-to-year basis. So they can be prepared by staff with little. They can be prepared quickly by staff with little experience. So time wasted on so can be prepared quickly. So what are the disadvantages of flowchart method? Disadvantages are they can sometimes be difficult to amend as any amendment may require the whole flowchart to be redrawn. There is still the need for narrative notes to accompany the flowchart, and hence it can be a time-consuming method. Not generally suitable for recording system with numerous unusual transactions. Only suitable for describing standard systems. Major amendment is not normally possible without redrawing. so not suitable for complex subsystems. Time can be wasted by recording and checking areas that are of no audit significance. Time can be wasted on irrelevant areas. So they are not appropriate for recording system where there are subsystem or subroutines. Okay. So, so in summary, in short, we can say the flow chart is best for visualization, but it is not flexible. Okay. So what are the questionnaires? Internal control questionnaires are used to assess whether control exists, which meets specific objective, or prevent or detect errors and omissions. ICQ, internal control quality, designed to ask if question is designed to ask if certain controls are present. So ICEQ, internal control evaluation questionnaire, which is designed to ask if certain errors can be prevented, that is test the effectiveness of control. So ICQ check if control exists. Yes, in ICQ questionnaire there will be yes and no. Yes mean control exists, no mean no, weakness. Problem its problem is does not evaluate importance and other hidden control may exist. So we can go internal control questionnaire. Normally comprise a checklist of standard control that should exist in specified functional area. For example, sales and trade receivable or purchase and trade payables. Questions about the existence of specified controls are usually phrased to generate a yes or no answers with an affirmative answer confirming the existence of a control and a negative answer indicating the absence of the control and weaknesses in the system. The problem associated with ICQs is that while they do identify areas where controls appear to be weak, they do not provide evaluation of those weaknesses. For example, while a no answer may indicate weakness in the control, it is possible that other controls in the system of which the auditor is unaware may compensate for the weakness. So internal evaluation questionnaires provide an alternative and improved means of evaluating control system by asking key questions about those systems. Key questions are phrased such that answer in a positive should alert the auditor to the fact that there are deficiencies in the system because system objectives are not being met. ICQ are usually designed to include a list of points that the auditors should consider before answering each key questions. The auditor issues the questionnaire to the client, who in turn get it filled by the appropriate employees. The feedback on the questionnaire enables the auditor to assess the internal limitation in the design of the internal control. The so what we learned on ICQ internal control questionnaire, the problem is it does not evaluate the importance and other hidden controls may also exist. So ICQ checks if controls are effective. Questions are designed to expose the weaknesses and answers are usually descriptive. So ICQ ask, like for example, for instance, let's say ICQ asks, is there a lock? And ICEQ asks, does the lock actually stop thieves? Like that. Okay. So ICEQ contains this detailed question relating to the functioning of internal control. They are to be answered by client. The answer to the question are generally in a narrative form. Information relating to following matters is included in ICQs and ICQs. Segregation and rotation of duties, maintenance of record and documents, accountability for safeguarding of assets, procedure for authorization. The feedback received on questionnaire will then be tested by auditor and the weaknesses, if any, will be communicated in the form of letter of weakness to the client. So what are the advantages of it? Questionnaires are quick to prepare, which means they are a cost-effective method for recording the system. They ensure that all control present within the system are considered and recorded, and missing controls or deficiencies are clearly highlighted. Questionnaires are simple to complete, therefore any member of the team can complete them and they are easy to understand and use also. So questions are simple to complete, therefore any member of the okay. So it is quick and cheap. It covers all the controls. It is easy to use. Weaknesses are clearly shown. So what are the disadvantages of it? It can be easy for the company to overstate the level of control present, as they are asked a series of questions relating to the potential control. Okay, without careful tailoring of the questionnaire to make it company specific, there is a risk that the control may be misunderstood and unusual control missed. So So we can say that the disadvantage is it may be misunderstood. Company may exaggerate the controls, and there is a need of customization. Okay. So taste of control. Taste of controls are performed to obtain audit evidence about two things: whether internal control system is designed suitably, it means to prevent, detect, or correct material misstatement, whether ICIs are operating properly. Taste of controls. So purpose is check design is suitable. It checks design is suitable or not, and it checks controls are actually working or not. Okay, operating effectively and designed suitably. Test of control examples is inspection of document. Example authorizations and inquiries about internal control which leave no audit trail. Example, a person who is supposed to perform the function actually performing it, or is someone else is doing so. So the method of testing, first is inspection, checking the document. Example, this authorization signature. So second is inquiries, asking staff. And third is reperformance of the concern. Control procedures, that is example, reconciliation. So redoing controls, reperformance. Examination of evidence of management views. Example, minutes of meetings. So observation is watching the process. Okay. Observation of controls. Using CAATs, test data, using test data. CAAT by using fake data, so like dummy data, we will create and test the controls whether on dummy data it is working or not. If control appears strong, they are tested to ensure they operated as described throughout the year. If the result shows they operated effectively, substantive testing may be reduced. So key logic is strong control is less substantive test. So weak control is equals to more substantive testing. So report weakness report control weakness report what is this report weakness to management report control weakness to management. So the letter of internal control, also referred to as a management letter or the letter of weakness, is usually a letter forwarded by an auditor to senior management of a company. The letter should normally be forwarded immediately following the completion of the test of controls and before the commencement of substantive procedure. The later contain weaknesses identified in intelligent systems of internal control as identified by auditor when performing test of controls, and the purpose of the later is to bring this weakness to the attention of management. The weaknesses identified in the main body of the letter should be those which could lead to fraud or material error in or omission from the company's financial statement and will be classified as those relating to the design of the system of accounting and internal control, the operation of the system of accounting and internal control. For both categories, the implication of weaknesses should be identified. However, minor control issues which the auditor would wish to bring to the attention of company senior management should be included in an appendix to the letter of weakness or in a supplementary report. Example of the matter, the external auditors should consider in determining whether a deficiency in control is significant include the likelihood of deficiencies leading to material misstatement in the financial statement in future. The susceptibility to loss or fraud of the related asset or liability, the subjectivity and complexity of determining estimated amount, the financial statement amounts exposed to deficiencies, the volume of activity that has occurred or could occur in the account balance or class of transactions exposed to deficiency or deficiencies, the cause and frequency of exception detected as a result of the deficiencies in the control. So, management later is about this, like management later of weakness. Later of weakness is about how auditor communicate the problems. So timing is after test of control. Its purpose is to inform management about the weakness. The timing is after test of controls, before substantive testing. Includes weakness in design of controls, operation of controls, impact, risk of fraud or error. So third is recommendation. Okay, and important major issues in main letter and minor issues in appendix. So how auditor determine if the weakness is significant? Is likelihood of misstatements, risk of fraud or loss, complexity of amount, size of affected balance, volume of transactions. So answering technique is for deficiency, identify weaknesses, explain the impact and give recommendation. For test of controls, identify control, explain how to test it. Confirm the system is being actually followed. So decide extent of substantive procedure. Decide extent of substantive procedure. Internal control over financial reporting. Strong, then decrease substantive testing. Internal control over financing reporting is weak, then increase the substantive testing. So answer technique for deficiencies in this design of the system, weakness in this the way the system has been made, identify weakness from the scenario. From scenario we have to identify weakness. What are the impact on the organization? Think of the problem it can cause for the business or the recording in the financial statement. So in first stage of control, to confirm the operating effectiveness of internal control. Remember the idea of TOC is to test of control is to simply confirm that the system is actually being implemented the way auditor will do. So confirm the stories you were told. Identify the control from the scenario. Think of a way to test it to confirm it was actually being followed. So sales system. Control objective for sales. Sales cycle is for first the order will receive, so good will dispatched, invoice is generated and invoice entered in the day book, general ledger and memorandum ledger. Okay. Um, Control objective for sales and dispatch system to ensure that orders are accepted if goods are available to be processed for the customers, to ensure that all goods are recorded completely and all orders are recorded completely and accurately, to ensure that goods are not supplied to the poor credit risk, to ensure that goods are dispatched for all order on timely basis, to ensure that goods are dispatched correctly to customers and they are of adequate quality, to ensure that all goods dispatched are correctly invoiced, to ensure that the completeness of income for goods dispatched, to ensure that sales discount are only provided to valid customers. Sales order test. So all sales order documented and sequentially numbered multi-part sales order form. Confirm from the customer, preferably in writing except on telephone sales or verbal reconfirmation or call recording should be acceptable. Inform inventory check. One of the copy of the GDN is sent with the good. One copy stays in the warehouse, stapled to the relevant sales order. One copy is sent to the invoicing department. New customer credit checks. The obtaining of trade, bank reference, and setting of the appropriate credit limit for customers. Existing customers credit limit check. Customer credit limit should be regularly reviewed and updated based on the level of sales, transaction, and credit risk. Any discounts committed to be authorized. Follow up on unfulfilled order. On a regular basis, a sequence take of orders should be undertaken to identify any missing orders. Automated environment. Access to master file limited to authorized individuals only. So, good dispatch to customers. Sequentially pre-numbered goods dispatch notes. So this kind of sales order should also be sequentially numbered. Dispatch note also should be sequentially numbered. Match to the sales order. Well, we have to match that to the sales order. Upon dispatch, the GDN should be matched to the order, and a regular review of unmatched orders should be undertaken to identify any unfulfilled order. So three copies signed, that is signed by warehouse. Three copies, that is warehouse, customers, on accounts or invoicing. Okay, customers should sign the copy to acknowledge the receipts of good. So sales invoice raised and entered in the accounting system. Sequentially pre-numbered invoices matched to GDN. Okay, still good receipt note. It should good dispatch note. It should be matched to good dispatch note. Three copies. That one copy should be with account or invoicing department, one copy with customers, and one copy with sales daybook clerk if applicable, and ensures the authorized price list is used to prepare the invoice. Any discount authorized. Automatic check on invoices. Sequence check on GDN to ensure all GDN have been invoiced. Sequence check on invoice to ensure all invoice have been entered in accounting system. Customer statements should be sent monthly to ensure any error and disrupted invoices are quickly identified and resolved. The sales ledger control account should be reconciled on a monthly basis to the individual ledger to identify any errors. The all reconciliation should be reviewed by a responsible official and they should evidence the review. Payment received from the customer. Match payment to the invoice. Match or the payment to the invoice. Or check validity of any settlement discount availed by the customer. Segregation of duties receiving payment and recording. Encourage bank transfer. A bank reconciliation statement should be prepared on a monthly basis. Good return by customers. Sequentially pre-numbered credit notes signed by the manager, matched to the invoice. Prepare a note for reason for return and action taken by the management. Other controls. Each receivable report prepared monthly and reviewed by a senior official. Exception report created and reviewed. Old receivable credit limits exceeded, etc. Amendment to master file data should be restricted so that only senior official can make the changes.